Hi, and welcome to The Bright Balloon, a podcast where I'm sharing bright ideas for your balloon business. My name is Sarah Meyer, and I'm a balloon business owner like you, and I love the creative side of what I do, but I really love the business side, which seems to be the part where most people struggle. So I'm here to help. Each week, I'm bringing you an episode full of bite-sized tips you can use to make improvements in your business. I want you to make more money, eliminate stress, and learn along with me as we grow our creative businesses together. Welcome to The Bright Balloon, presented by 17 Hats. Hello and welcome to this week's episode. Today we are talking a little bit about twisting and how adding those custom details to your decor can either get you the client or make you unique in a saturated market. So thank you so much to today's guest, Patricia, who is the owner of StickUp Artistry and Design. And she is another one of my interviews that I did live at the Tuftex Experience. And as you will soon hear, Patricia's attitude and spirit and personality is just infectious. In fact, I heard people all week talking about how fun she was, how great her classes were, how her energy just lit up the room. She kicked off karaoke on the first night. She was just fun to be around, but also a very smart businesswoman. She taught twisting classes and everyone was walking around with these twisted bows. She really had an impact on the Tuftex Experience, and I was so glad to not only meet her, but that she was my guinea pig for my very first interview, because I had never done these interviews live in person before. So as you can imagine, it's a whole different setup. There's multiple microphones, and I'm not sure if it's working, and I'm not sure if the background noise is going to be annoying, and there was a lot of unknown. So thank you to Patricia for being the first person to hop on the mic and give me a really great interview. I can't wait for you to meet her if you are not already familiar with Patricia's great personality and her great work. Before we hop into the interview, let's head over to the U-Glue hotline for some great advice that sticks. And then we will get into this conversation live from the Tuftex Experience with Patricia, the owner of StickUp Artistry and Design. Welcome to the U-Glue hotline, where we discuss great advice that sticks, brought to you by Pro Tapes. Pro Tapes is a leading manufacturer of specialty tape products like Pro Artist, Pro Gaff, and our favorite balloon tape, U-Glue, which helps you create amazing balloon arrangements and decorations. If you have a tip, send me a DM on Instagram at The Bright Balloon. Today's tip is a little insurance policy that I like to leave behind, which includes extra balloons and extra adhesive anytime I do an install. I will leave these with the client. Sometimes I will just hide these under the balloons, but in case I know I can't return if something falls off or unsticks or a balloon pops, I like to leave extra supplies behind just in case. And I find that when I do, nothing ever seems to go wrong. I don't know how that works out, but it's a little insurance that you can leave behind. So if by chance something happens and they call you, you can say, actually, I'm 2 steps ahead and I left some replacements behind for you. All right, Patricia.
Okay.
You're my guinea pig.
What? I will take it.
First interview. Yeah. I'm so excited.
I'm excited. I'm glad that I walked down the hall.
Yeah, we are live at Tuftex.
All right.
You are teaching at Tuftex.
And can you believe that?
Yeah, 100%. Yes. Let's talk about who you are, where you're from, a little bit about your business, and then we'll jump into what you're doing this week.
All right. Well, Patricia Robinson. I am originally from Baltimore, Maryland. Yes. But I reside in Georgia now. Okay. Most people say I'm from Atlanta.
Yeah.
But I'm not from, I don't live in Atlanta. I live in Swanee, Georgia. But most people have no idea where Swanee, Georgia is. So it's just easier to say Atlanta. My business is StickUp Artistry and Design.
Okay.
People find it to be a little funny because, I'm going to stick you up, but it is there's a story behind my name.
What is it?
I'm affiliated with an organization called Sigma Gamma Rho.
Okay.
And when we are like stepping or performing, we tend to use canes in our performance.
Okay.
So not just with the stepping, we also use the canes similar to another fraternity.
Okay.
And so when I was a part of the step team or so, I can step, but I'm a really good twirler.
Okay.
And so
I'm really bad at both of those things.
If you notice in the beginning of my my segments, like on Twisting Tuesdays, you know, I like flip my hand pump.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit where that comes from.
Okay.
And so I'm wondering now, I'm good with the hand pump, but I wonder now, I'm thinking with my cane, I need to pick it up. I might be a little rusty, but I was really good with that. So I would teach other people how to twirl and things of that nature. But that's where that comes from. So if you ever look at a cane upside down, that's where the stick up comes from. And in my logo, you'll see my U looks like a cane.
Cool.
Yeah. So a lot of people like, oh, okay, now. Yeah. And then in the P of my logo, you'll see a very small balloon.
Okay.
Because I always said that if I ever wanted to shift out of balloons, which I probably won't, it probably would just, whatever comes after would be like an add-on. I wanted a name that I could still shift that didn't, you know, do anything that I would have to start all over again.
Yeah. Cool. So how long have you been doing balloons?
So professionally, I've been doing balloons since like 2020, like most people, whole pandemic and everything. But I've always been a creative. I've always done all kinds of things. But when 2020 hit is when it really kind of took off, because my husband, I have a bonus daughter as well. And so every year he takes her to the father-daughter dance in Georgia. And in 2020, it got shut down. So he was really upset about that. And the type of person I am, I'm like, well, you know, we could put something together small at the house. Unfortunately, I don't do things small. So I knew a couple of people who did balloons. I was already doing so much around the house, trying to really make it like it was like a father-daughter dance, something they would really remember. So I was like, I can't do that and the balloons. So I was going to contract somebody to do it, but something fell through or whatever. And I was like, well, what you can't do, you got to do. So I just started inflating. This is before I knew about, you know, I don't know, prepping things ahead of time. I was like, listen, I'm going to have to do it. And I was like, oh, there's these balloons are still together. Do you remember? Yeah, it was a black and gold setup, you know, for whatever reason. Black and gold is always the go-to, right? I really thought I was doing it. But when I go back and look at those pictures, I'm like, what is this? But and of course, we all start on YouTube. Yeah. And then YouTube says, hey, why don't you try this? And why don't you try that? And then I had a good friend who said, you should make this a business. I said, absolutely not. I'm not doing that because then I'm going to hate it. I'm going to get people who are going to be very mean and I'm not going to want to do this. Plus it's taxes and this. And, you know, it's not just the art of it. Right. So she's actually the one who got my first client. She told me it was for somebody, like her family or something. And I was like, yeah, cool. I'll make something for you. Whatever. Give me the colors. Little did I know, she was taking the order for someone else. Okay. And when I went to bring it to her home, she was like, here you go. You just made your first client.
Nice. If you haven't checked out Having a Party yet, now is the time. The great team over at Having a Party Wholesale carries a huge selection of high-quality balloons and supplies to take your designs to the next level. Plus, they're more than just a supplier. They're committed to education, helping balloon professionals grow their skills and businesses, and investing in our industry, whether that's hosting in-house classes or sponsoring instructors at events. In fact, I'll be teaching for Having a Party at Float 2026, and I can't wait to highlight their awesome products and service. And here's something extra. Get 5% off orders over $200 using the code podcast at checkout when you shop at haveinaparty.com. Do you do a lot of twisting?
So I love the term deco-twister. Okay. And it's great because what happens is that I started just in rounds like everyone else. They're the organics and everything. And then I started to learn more about how balloons really started with, you know, the standards and things, and then your sizing and so. But Atlanta has so many great balloon artists. Like every state, you know, has, and I needed to find a way to make myself stand out. Plus, sometimes, you know, when you're trying to promote yourself and all that, it's really difficult to always do a garland or do an arrangement. Whereas I can twist like 3 roses for you and it means volumes. Or like one thing was always great. I would twist a daisy and would slide my business card in it and hand it to someone. And they were like, wow, this is so cute. You know, and something that they remembered. So I started doing that because it was something that made me stand out. I was a little hesitant about it. Not to say, listen, don't come for me in these please do not come for me in these podcast streets. But I was a little hesitant at first about twisting because every time you explain, and there's nothing wrong with it, you know, there's so many levels to twisting. But I didn't want to be like, oh, you're a clown.
100%.
Or you do the little balloon things. Yeah. And you know what? There's a time and place for all of that. There's nothing wrong with people who do, you know, one balloon twist and all of that.
But it is often associated with like a cheaper per item average.
And it's not. You know, that's the thing that people don't understand. They think that just because it takes less balloons to do, it still takes the same type of mental capacity.
It takes me like 3 hours to make a dog. I can't twist anything.
Well, you know, my philosophy behind that is that people always say that they can't do it. But I mean, how did you feel when you picked up your first round for the first time to make a garland? You were like so intimidated. You were scared. Oh my goodness, it's gonna pop. And now you're shoving like a whole 25-foot garland in the back of a, you know, hatchback. Right? You know what I mean?
It's true.
So I always try to tell people you have to build that type of comfortability when it comes to twisting. The other thing too is that just like balloons, you have your levels of balloon artists. You have the people who are like, I love doing a 6-foot garland. I want to drop it off at your house. I just want to, whatever. You have people who say, nope, I want to size every balloon and it's going to be perfect. And we're going to learn with the blending of the colors. And at some point you kind of tune out. But, you know, everybody has their level of where they want to be when it comes to the art of balloons. So it's kind of like, where do you want to be? Where do you fit in? And then, you really should never say no to something. You got to try it first for you to be like, yeah, you know what? That's not for me.
Yeah.
That is not. Or sometimes it is for you with the right price.
Yeah, exactly. I'm always like, you'll never charge that little again for that. You know, you learn the hard way.
Yeah.
So before we started recording, you said that you have a full-time job?
I do.
So what do you do by day?
So I actually I have a couple of jobs.
Okay.
So I have a 3-year-old.
Okay.
You know, she calls me mom. You know, most days I'm like, please stop calling me mom. No, she's good. So, that I work at a technical college.
Oh, okay.
Huge shift. And I serve as a special service coordinator.
Okay.
So I work with a particular group of students. If you're unhoused, if you collect Pell Grant, if you're if you're homeless, if you are a single parent or so, all of these students fall under an umbrella called special populations.
Okay.
So we do our very best to provide accommodations for them to ensure that they are successful in graduating.
Cool.
So it's really nice. It's interesting because before we started, I was checking my email, which I should not be doing.
Yeah.
I should not be checking my work. People, don't check your work email, okay?
So are you on vacation right now?
I'm on vacation, but you know.
A working vacation.
Yeah. I left work to go to work, right? Yeah. But we acquired a $30,000 grant.
Oh, cool.
Which I helped write,
That's
which
awesome.
is great.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Which I've never written a grant a day in my life. So I'm you can check that off,
nice,
right?
Yeah.
So that was really nice. And before I left, guess who got to do the recap? So I was just checking on that because when I sent it, you know, my boss is gone and whoever I had to send it to, but they were just saying that they got it and it was good. So I'm happy about that.
So is this the type of job that you're going to be at for a long time? Do you feel like you're building your business around your full-time job, or how does that work? Because I know sometimes people are like determined to go full-time. Some people have no intention of going full-time. Like, where do you fall on that spectrum?
See, let's say this. I'm not turning away any blessings at all. I'm completely open to a lot of things, especially if it works within the walls of the type of balloon artist I want to be. But I don't necessarily want to be like a full-time balloon artist. I think it's mostly because which is uncommon, I enjoy both jobs.
Yeah.
I enjoy being a balloon artist, and I enjoy what I do at Gwinnett Tech. So it's just kind of like, it's hard if I had to, and I have a great boss.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for me. I mean, she knows I do balloons, and she's seen my work before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, she knows that I teach and everything. Some people will say like, oh, you tell all that to your boss? I mean, we're in a different age now.
Yeah.
It's just, and I could understand why some people don't feel that open to talk to, their boss, but I don't know.
Yeah, when I worked full time, mine were my coworkers were like all very aware of my balloon business.
Yeah, so, but I don't know what the future holds.
Yeah.
Maybe you might talk to me in 2027 and say, hey, guess what?
Hey, my shift happened really quick. Like my job was great until it wasn't. And it was really nice to have a full-time job to just like do instead.
Yeah.
I didn't have to go and get a different job. I was just like, I think I'm done.
And that's the struggle sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it is really hard to work a full-time job and do your balloon business and all the other commitments that you have. You're somebody's friend, all the things.
Yeah.
So it's really hard. And then also, it's important for us to practice. So it's like, where do you find the time to practice? You can't always do everything on the fly.
Yeah.
So, and then also there's the things, if you don't use it, you lose it. So that's that there too. Cause sometimes I'll look at something and I'm like, man, I used to do this really well. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And you got to reteach yourself. And sometimes that's okay.
Yeah. Because
when you do that, you learn a new technique, or you see where the growth has happened, where you started from. And so, because I never forget Crystal Yee. She's the reason why I started doing balloon dresses.
I love Crystal.
Yeah, everybody knows. I had no idea who she was.
I haven't seen her in years and years, but she was at one of my first conventions ever.
I believe it. I definitely. I just remember she was doing, what was like the Q corner or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And I saw her doing a dress. I'm like, I can weave. This will be light work.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then I said to myself, who is watching? Because I think it was like over an hour long video. Well, guess who watched that over this girl right here?
That's how you
learned.
Not
only that, I fast forwarded, and so it turned 1 hour turned into way longer than that. And what was so interesting is that, and maybe she did it purposely, or maybe she was running out of time. She didn't show how to close the back.
Oh, okay.
Of the dress. So I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do? And then, how do I do this? Yeah, I can twist or whatever. And then in Georgia, I don't know anyone who's interested in that.
Yeah.
Or I haven't met them. So if you're out there.
The twisted dresses. Yeah.
Right. But so that kind of left me lost. So now I'm digging, trying to figure it out. And that's when I found out that there are actual twisting conventions, and I went to Twist and Shout for the first time, and she was there, and I was in the dress competition, and so was she, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I am competing against the person who put me into this. But she was so nice.
That's cool.
She was really nice. She let me hold one of her trophies too.
Nice. So are you super into the new twisting balloons from Tuftex?
I am.
Is that what you're teaching with today? This week? I'm assuming you're doing twisting.
Of course, I definitely am. One of the things that I really like about them is that, as ladies, well, men too, we have to be mindful of our hands. And so we are in latex all the time, and then constantly washing and make sure listen, maybe you could educate me about the powder. I don't know if it does anything, make your hands rough.
No, I just have terrible cuticles all the time. I just thought that was the norm for balloon people.
But either way, I try to make sure I maintain that.
Yeah.
And so, the balloons are very soft.
Okay.
So I don't really feel like they're being hard on my hands or anything like that. And it's nice that they have decided to acquire 260s. I'm waiting for the 160s though.
Oh yeah.
I do enjoy working with 160s when it comes to twisting dresses.
Sure.
I can do both, but
they're just like a little bit more delicate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, especially the top part.
Well, I know people have tried to put me in those dresses before, and I'm like, no, what woman wants to add 2 inches of width around their waist? Not me. So I think, the more detailed and dainty it can be, the better.
But some people, they really know, because there's so many tricks and trades when it comes to making a 260 to emulate
skinnier,
a 160. And I think going back to what I was saying about learning how to do certain things with twisting and not being scared of that, to me, that's important. You just never know when you're going to need one of those skills to help you out. I mean, when you're splitting a 5-inch balloon into 2, you're twisting.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So it's kind of like, don't be scared of it. Try it.
Yeah.
Really get to a point, or try to find something that you do like.
Yeah.
Because you just never know when you're going to need it.
Want more behind-the-scenes tips, mindset shifts, and real talk about growing your balloon business? Then you're going to love On the Bright Side, my private podcast feed just for decorators who want more ease, income, and insight. When you join the email list, you'll instantly unlock 3 of our most popular bonus episodes, totally free. These are packed with juicy tips you won't hear on the main feed. So sign up now and start listening instantly. And if you like what you hear, you can subscribe anytime to keep the bonus episodes coming. I'll see you on the bright side. I do have a random question for you. I'm going to throw some oddballs out there. If your child version of yourself could see you today, what would they say?
Probably like, Patricia, you're always getting into something. It's the truth. And I'm always saying this to my husband or most people. I always find like the challenging thing. Like, why can't I just go with the flow? Not to say anything's wrong with that, but it's just, like I said, I don't know anyone in Georgia who does balloon dresses, which means I have to find people in different states. I can't just drive to their house and say, hey, blah, blah, blah. No, it's videos. But the cool thing is that I've been able to meet so many different people. Yeah. So that's probably what it is. But my child self probably would be like, whatever. Because when I was in school, I was the only girl who was who played trumpet in the band. Okay. I've always been that kid. Like, sure. Let me go left.
I love it. And how are you able to be here this week? I think you've kind of touched on it a little bit, but I'm curious. I think some people have staff at home. Some people shut down their business. Like, what is your business doing right now while you're here?
Oh, so I just shut down my business. Some orders I was able to do before coming. And then, sometimes, unfortunately, when we make the decision to shut down, we lose out on business. But the good thing is I do have a good circle. I want to touch on that. I strongly feel like it's important as artists, right, that we shut down. Like, money is always going to come, right? Yes. But you cannot burn yourself out. Like, I love the fact that you talk about that. I love that you bring people on to talk about, like, them doing that to themselves, because what happens is that people get so caught up in I took this out, I did this for my business, and now I got to pay these bills. Well, it could be today or tomorrow. But guess what? If you're killing yourself trying to do that, you're not going to even be able to do it. So, I did have to pass up on some things and say, I'm not going to be in town. I can refer you to a few people who do work like I do, or maybe there's something that we can do before, because we all know balloons
will last.
Yeah. So, and then there's some people, they're committed to you. So they're kind of like, okay, let me see how I can work with you, or they trust you. So you're like, hey, if you're telling me this is your go-to, I'm going to go with that person. Yeah. So I tend to do that. And I have a circle of friends or balloon friends too who will do the same. If they're not going to be available, they will toss it to me. Yeah. So I think that's important too, because one, I feel like it strengthens the balloon community. that people really understand that we're not just throwing numbers at them.
Yeah.
Like, this is really what it is when it comes, because balloons, it's a luxury, it's an experience. It's not just, those little balloon things. No, it's not. Like, or I still got to pay for the catering. Okay, well, you know what? Hold your catering food when it's time to take the pictures. Okay? Yeah. But, it's all good.
Well, cool. Mm-hmm. Well, I am so glad that I get to meet you. I'm so excited to take your class this week.
Yes.
We are on day 0. It starts tonight. So you are mid-prep. I appreciate you taking your time
thank you
to not only give me an interview, but you're my first guinea pig. First in person.
What did I say? I just jump in.
Go for it.
Right.
I love
Why
it.
not? You never know. That's how before we go, I remember I was in the balloon store in 2023. And I saw Allison there. She was touring PS Healing.
Okay.
And she was busy. And I was kind of like, I'm not going to bother her. She's doing stuff or whatever. And it's so funny because I was looking at the stories of PS Helium later on that day. And it's so crazy because I'm at the counter getting my balloons. And we're like this. She's doing something with Bill. And so it was just so funny. And then here we go, 2025. I'm teaching at a Tuftex Experience. Yeah. So that's awesome.
Well, cool. Well, thank you so much. Last question. If people want to see your work, where should they find you?
So I know people are like, you need to get on TikTok. But
no, TikTok is so scary. I'm not on there either. I feel like everyone's so mean.
It's just so hard managing all the socials.
It is. But you would be good on TikTok with twisting and all of that.
I know. Everybody, especially my Twisting Tuesdays, people you would really thrive on there. I don't know. Right now, I don't have the mental capacity to pick up another one.
Yeah, I get it.
But I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Okay. Same thing. StickUp Artistry and A&D in design. And then I have my own website. So it's StickUp Artistry and Design .net.
Okay.
So you can find me there. I have a Google page.
Cool.
People forget about that because if they can't Google you,
you don't exist.
You don't exist. So you can find me there as well.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time to interview me today.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Bright Balloon Podcast presented by 17 Hats, my go-to system for booking, billing, and managing my balloon business with ease. If you're ready for more mindset shifts, mini trainings, and strategies to help you grow a profitable, sustainable business, join me on the Bright Side, my private podcast feed just for decorators who want more ease, more income, and more insight behind the scenes of my balloon business. It's just $5 a month, and you can sign up right now in the show notes wherever you're listening. I'll see you on the Bright Side.